I'm Ty, and this is my daughter Sabrina, and this is our first tutorial. We're doing a tutorial on how to create a bun using a puff cuff. And a puff cuff is a hair accessory that I purchased because I was looking for something to create an afro puff that didn't create as much tension as an elastic band, and this really does the trick. The plastic is molded plastic, so it's not easily broken. The teeth are widely spaced so it doesn't pull at your hair. Easy to open, close. The center is nice and wide so you can get your thick hair through it. And the profile is contoured so it shapes to your head. And her hair is dry. I'm not going to put any additional product in it. She still has leave-in conditioner and oil in it. I'm just gathering it in my hands at the center of her head. I'm just going to spritz it with some water. Thank you. And I'm just spritzing the perimeter of it just to make it easier for me to smooth it out. I don't want to wet more than that because her hair is stretched right now and I don't want it to revert back to its natural state, which is a really tight coil. That'll just make it harder for me to create bun. So I take the puff cuff and I typically install it with the closure to the back. It's just easier for me to close it because it's facing me. And for, a couple of days she wore it just like this in the puff, which was really cute, but she wanted a bun. So there are two ways to create the bun. You can create it this way where you're taking the hair and you're twisting it towards the outside of the puff cuff. And as you twist it, you push it in to the teeth of the puff cuff and that will secure it. This way is quicker and you don't need any hairpins, so it's a nice way to do it. But if you don't have really long, thick hair, then you'll get a flatter bun because it's taking the shape of the puff cuff. But if you have thick, long hair, you can kind of create a more rounded shape. But with the length of her hair, I don't typically do the bun this way. I usually separate it out in a circle the same way. And I start from the back and pull it a little bit just to get it started. And I start twisting it. And I'm twisting it in a circle. And as I twist it, I'll secure it with bobby pins. And I use bobby pins because I've tried hairpins, and when your hair is this thick, the hairpins will come right on out. So I typically use the bobby pins, and they're just 1 3/4 inch bobby pins. If you have older bobby pins where the ball tips are no longer on the pins and you just have exposed metal, then I suggest you throw those away because those tend to pull your hair out. Now, I mentioned her hair is dry. It's also semi-detangled and it's stretched because I recently took out her box braids. And so usually when I take out her box braids or her cornrows, I'm in a rush to get it washed because it's been in braids for a while and I feel like it needs a good wash. But this time, I said, you know what, let me take advantage of this stretched, detangled hair and do something different. I mentioned she is tender-headed, or maybe I didn't, which is why I use the baby brush because it has the softer bristles as opposed to a brush with harder bristles that will pull out her hair. But because she's tender-headed, she's not a big fan of cornrows. So this is a nice alternative. So once I get to the end, I twist it tight, and then I take that hair and I tuck it in to the hair that I initially started twisting. And then I'll pin that. And what that does, it conceals the end of the hair, obviously, but it also helps to create a more consistent shape. And I typically start at the back of her head because if there is any difference in the volume of where I started the twist and where I ended it, It's easier to conceal it if it's in the back. If it's in the front, it's a little bit more obvious. So that's why I start in the back. And you'll notice I'm putting in quite a bit of pins, and it's because she's a kid. She likes to run around. I want to make sure it's secure. So I'll put in another one. And so that's pretty much it. So my last step is just smoothing out the edges. And I will do that by applying some gel just to the edges. And I'm using Eco Styler. I like this gel because it doesn't flake up, and I don't need a ton of it for it to hold, and it's alcohol free. The one I'm using has olive oil in it. And so now I'm using her baby brush just to brush it up. And then I'll play with her baby hair a little bit by just brushing it down onto her face and then sweeping the bristles across just to make them neat. And that's it. We're done. So the great thing about this is also that it can be a great protective style, because if you have a silk scarf, you can just wrap it up. We'll cover her face, wrap it up, and once you wrap it up, it'll kind of set the gel and it'll allow the bun to keep. So that way, tomorrow, I will not have to do her hair. So that's a great added bonus. So that is our tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good one.
Bye.